What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're still life maxing. We're still living life to the max, and I have a banger for you if you're someone who struggles with your weight, that is. If you're someone who's already naturally skinny, I don't know why the fuck you even clicked on this video, because you saw the title, How to Hypnotize Yourself to Become Naturally Skinny. Yes, I know it's a bold claim, but I have proof that I know how to do it. I have proof that you can do it, and I'm gonna show you how I went from this to this. Are you interested in that? Okay, great, then keep on watching. So growing up, I was actually fat. Yeah, you guys don't know this about me yet, but everyone in my circle knows. Right up until high school, I was a chubby kid. And not only was I a chubby kid, towards the end, I was fucking obese. I mean, I don't know which pictures I'm gonna show here, but look at this and this and this and this. I was a heavy kid. As a matter of fact, by the time I was in 8th grade, I had weighed in at 245 pounds. 245 pounds as an 8th grader. Do you understand how fucking insane that is? But I didn't get why. Honestly, when I was a kid, it didn't seem like I ate that much more than the average kid or moved around that much less than the average kid. And I thought I was just doomed. I was just cursed to be one of the fat ones in this life. Until I learned the secrets of the universe. And I'm gonna share those secrets of the universe with you today. So after being fat in middle school, I decided the summer between 8th and 9th grade, which if you don't live in America, that's the summer right before you go into high school. I decided I wasn't gonna go into high school being a fat, tubby lard ass. I had my Rocky montage moment. I ate like 600 calories a day. I was running every night. I ran to the point of injury. And what ended up happening? I ended up losing like over 100 pounds over the course of like 3 to 6 months or so. And by the time I got to high school, people didn't even fucking recognize me. So that was great. And then I got to live out my early adulthood as a skinny person. I went really hard for one summer, and then after that, it was pretty simple to maintain. Unfortunately, like anything, times change, and I did end up gaining a lot of weight back. But this was way later, you know. I went into the corporate world and I maintained my physique for maybe another 6 months, a year or so. But like most people, I had adulthood hit me hard as fuck. I went in a boy, I came out a man, and unfortunately being a man apparently in America is being old and fat and fucking sad and anxious all the time. I was a mess, okay? If you remember, I looked like this coming out of college. And then after entering corporate America and grinding as a sales guy for enterprise software for about 3 years, I ended up looking like this. Gasp, shock and horror. I know. And honestly, I wasn't obese, you know, like it wasn't as crazy as it was originally when I was a kid. But for me to be out here giving people advice and looking like this was not okay. So I had to develop a new system. My old system of going hard and getting jacked didn't work anymore because I was simply too busy. So I had to figure out a new strategy. And well, I figured it out. In the last 3 or 4 months, I actually ended up losing another 30, 40 pounds. And you say, okay, I get it. You're the fucking top G. You have a high pain tolerance. You're a fucking life max. So you expect me to do all that? No, I don't actually, because what I didn't tell you about my most recent transformation is that I missed my protein goal every day. I barely trained ever. I was drinking substances maybe I shouldn't have been drinking. I didn't even think about my fitness barely at all for the last 3 to 4 months, other than every couple of weeks to weigh myself and make sure I was still losing weight. Now you're listening. You go, what the fuck? But how the fuck did you manage to lose 30, 40 pounds on autopilot without even trying? Well, that's the point of today's video. But before I tell you how I lost all this weight on autopilot, knowing my story as a formerly fat kid, right? I wasn't naturally skinny growing up. I have to debunk something. That's right. I am debunking the myth of naturally skinny people. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the 3 different body types. You got endomorphs, mesomorphs, and ectomorphs. An endomorph is someone who puts on mass really easily, including muscle and fat. An ectomorph is someone who's naturally skinny and can't put on weight to save their life. And mesomorph is somewhere in the middle. I'm here to tell you to forget about these body types. It's complete horseshit. These body types are not a classification of your genetics or how you handle your nutrients or your propensity to be fat. These body types are one step away from pseudoscience. And this is the misconception people don't know. Endomorph, mesomorph, and ectomorph are all classifications of your characteristics of your body. That means however your body responds to anything, however you live your life, they're just recognizing it and telling you this is the pattern you're falling into. It doesn't mean you have a thyroid issue. It doesn't mean there's anything fundamentally wrong with you. And it doesn't mean that someone is naturally fat or naturally skinny. For what reason do we categorize people this way? I have no idea, because it gives people such a license to just say, oh, I'm an endomorph, I'm never gonna lose weight, or oh, I'm an ectomorph, it's super hard for me to gain weight. The truth is, naturally skinny people expend more energy than they eat on the long term. If you tracked a naturally skinny person every day for 2 years, it would be clear pretty quickly how they're so naturally skinny without trying. They all deny it, but they probably eat less than fat people, but there is nothing fundamentally different about them. Both naturally skinny and naturally fat people only have to answer to basic thermodynamics. And if you're eating more than you're expending, you're getting fatter. And if you're burning more than you're eating, you're getting skinnier. Is that clear? That should be very clear. Now, if I didn't lose you yet, I hope I don't lose you here. Because if we admit that naturally skinny people don't exist, the uncomfortable truth for you watching this is that naturally fat people don't exist either. Just know, if you're one of these people who say they're big boned or they have a thyroid issue or it's harder for them to lose weight, that's complete horseshit, and you need to cut that out of your life. You've gotten so big over the years, way bigger than you thought you would ever get, because consistently, day in, day out, you were slightly above your maintenance calories, which means every day you consumed slightly more than you needed to survive. And over the course of 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, you can put on so much weight that you're just unrecognizable. And then you think back over the last 10 years and you think, well, I never pigged out. I've seen so many skinny people absolutely pig out. I never even did that. I thought I was being well behaved, and still I'm the fat one. You're gonna think you're cursed. And if some scientist says you're an endomorph, God bless your soul, you're never gonna lose the weight, because you'll believe that you're cursed. But none of it is true. It is literally basic thermodynamics. Nobody can get around that. There's no hacker trick, okay? But the important point to remember here, if you're one of these people that have been disempowering themselves every day by just saying, oh, I'm powerless to my body, I'm big boned, or I have a thyroid or whatever. If you're one of these people, then listen to this last point really closely. The story you tell yourself about your fitness or your body or your diet is just as important, if not more important, than actually going through the motions of training and eating the right thing. Let me say that again. Your mindset is just as important as your diet and training, if not more. So take this as a lesson to stop telling yourself disempowering stories. If you tell yourself you're big bone, say, fuck that. Actually, I am a naturally skinny person. Just view yourself in a better way, because it's so easy to stop yourself from doing the hard thing if in the back of your mind you have an excuse built in for yourself. Get rid of all of your excuses. It's hard because you have to accept that you've been lazy and working against your own interests this whole time. But the sooner you do it, the less work you're gonna have to do to undo the years of neglect. And by the way, I don't blame you for ending up at this spot. I mean, I ended up at the same spot. Nobody told you this when you needed to hear it, so we're learning now, and the best thing you can do is start today. What does Confucius say? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time, today. Okay, part 4, the part you were waiting for. How do I actually become a naturally skinny person? Not like I tell myself I'm a naturally skinny person, not like I feel like I'm a naturally skinny person, not that my self-worth stopped being tied to my weight. Quick aside, your self-worth should be tied to your weight. Your self-worth should be tied to all these things, because if you don't feel bad about them, you're not gonna change them. So allow your self-worth to be affected by this stuff. That's a very important point. But anyway, how do you actually reprogram yourself to become naturally skinny like I've been able to do? Okay, step one, and you're not gonna like this, but unfortunately, you have to do it the hard way first. You probably saw this coming hearing my story, but you actually do, unfortunately, have to do it the hard way first. You're gonna have to make getting fit your #1 priority just for a season in your life. It's not forever. You're gonna have to drag yourself to the gym. You're gonna have to find those workouts that you can actually stand to do. So let's shoot down some of the initial thoughts you're gonna have, especially if this is your first fitness journey. #1, I don't want to track everything. That's an eating disorder. No, that's bullshit and that's complete cope. It's not an eating disorder. It is ordered eating to reach a specific goal. Can you overdo it? Yes, of course. Can you completely underdo it? More likely you're gonna underdo it, okay? So forget this, I have an eating disorder if I track everything, my relationship with food, my natural. You're being a dweeb, and you're being a dweeb on purpose because you're trying to give yourself a license out of doing this hard thing, okay? It's not true, it's not an eating disorder. The last part of phase 1 here is to get so in shape when you go on this 3-month mission of yours. You have to get so in shape. What I usually see when people start and win their health journey is that they'll lose like 15, 20 pounds. They'll look a little bit slimmer. That's not good enough. You're not gonna be skinny forever. You're gonna gain that right back, I promise, because it's not drastic enough of a change for your subconscious to expect more out of you, right? People don't stop smoking when they see the ad. They stop smoking when they're in the doctor's office and the doctor says your lung is precancerous, and they stop smoking when it's way too late. The point is, your subconscious only really reacts to extreme scenarios in life. Only when you got extremely fat did you actually drag your ass to the gym. And only when you get extremely fit will your body adopt this as an unconscious standard for you for the rest of your life. So if you follow all this and you end up looking like a fitness Instagram model after 6 months and you're getting all the ladies and everyone loves you, and you know, funnily enough, after you get to this level of jack, you'll notice how much nicer the world is in general. This is kind of why I made the channel. It hurts my heart that people are walking around in their fat bodies, getting disrespected, having social anxiety all the time when it's a choice. You don't have to live like that, right? So that's kind of the point of this channel. But anyway, now you are so fucking shredded. You have such a good self-image. And funnily enough, your body now considers a way higher level of fitness as your minimum standard. Like when the smoker finally quit smoking when the doctor told him he was precancerous, now your body is gonna give you all the fear signals of you getting too fat way earlier. If you were 250 pounds before, maybe you would let yourself get up to 270 before you got really scared and were motivated towards action. Now you drop your way down to 195 and you look amazing. By the time you get up to 210 now, your body's like, what the fuck, bro? You gotta do something, right? And that's phase 1 of becoming naturally skinny. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What the fuck, dude? You got me in this video so long. This isn't what I signed up for. I know I can do it the hard way. I know I can get jacked. You told me I was gonna hypnotize myself. Well, okay, the final phase has arrived, metamorphosis. After completing your fitness mission, doing it the hard way, and impressing everybody in your life, you're gonna have such a good, intimate sense of how many calories are in things, what kind of oils to avoid, little protein hacks to keep you fuller longer. If you really took my advice and locked in for that 3 to 6 months, you will be a trainer, basically. You'll be good enough to be a trainer. You'll know all the different tips and tricks that there is to know, and you'll know what works for your body. That's why you have to do it the hard way at first, because truthfully, everyone's body responds to something different, and you have to find that out. So you have to make it your #1 priority to find it out, right? But you finished this fitness journey, you gained a great body and a wealth of fitness tips and lessons along the way. But unfortunately, the skills that got you to this amazing physique are not gonna carry you through to being naturally skinny. You actually have to make kind of a mindset shift at this point. Because the things that got you to that amazing physique in the first place are not really sustainable long term. Sometimes you are gonna wanna have that drink. Sometimes you are gonna wanna eat the delicious food. Sometimes your sleep isn't gonna be the greatest. And truthfully, nobody wants to live like a fucking gym rat all the time. So now you have to adopt kind of a new model towards fitness. Instead of being an absolute savage, instead of being David Goggins, instead of asking who's carrying the boats, instead of being a Navy SEAL trained savage like you've been for the last 6 months, you're gonna have to practice fitness apathy. You're gonna have to stop caring so much about your physique. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds so simple, But after you really lock in and produce a change in your life, you're gonna give yourself all sorts of anxieties about, oh, this has too much fat in it. Oh, if I eat this now, I'm gonna have to work this hard to get out of it. And that served you really well during the savage period, but it's actually gonna hurt you for your naturally skinny period. As a fat person, you were always thinking about your body. You were grabbing your tummy rolls and you're like, oh, this shirt doesn't fit. And the dress that I wore to my wedding 30 years ago doesn't fit. And now there's fat rolls and ho-hos where it used to be curves and sexy. Skinny people are not thinking this stuff. Skinny people barely ever think about their own body. They barely ever think about a calorie. They're certainly not anxious about their meal being too fattening. They're trying to gain weight, actually. They're trying to fatten up even more. As a result of this apathy, they actually let their body do what it was designed to do. Because as a fat person, your brain's always getting in the way. Your brain says, oh, that's a delicious thing and it soothes my pain, so I'm gonna keep on eating, keep on eating, keep on eating. To skinny people, eating doesn't even soothe their pain. Eating might even cause them more pain. They might get too full. They may not enjoy the feeling of being full. And you're like, how is that even fucking possible? Well, some people grow up in households where their moms don't know how to fucking cook. I'm looking at you, young Vladimir. I'm sorry, miss. I'm sure your food's really good. I just, you know, you guys are Russian, you eat moldy fish and shit. It's an easy shot. Some people grow up in households where they don't get this self-soothing feeling from food. And they're very lucky because now their body can operate off of the real hunger signals. But most people love eating and it makes them feel great and it's their form of love. And that's why they overdo it, because life can be very stressful sometimes, and that's how they're trying to self-medicate. It's through food. If you want to be a naturally skinny person, you have to stop viewing food as a treat or stop viewing healthy food as a punishment. You have to be just basically indifferent. This is not to say if you love food, you have to stop loving food. The point is, you should be able to have a bite of a delicious meal, put it down, and be satisfied until you're really hungry again. The problem is, most people forgot what hungry actually feels like. Most people eat when they're fucking bored. Like they open up a movie and now they get hungry. Or they open up YouTube and now they have to eat some snacks or something. The reason you have to go so hard in phase one is because then you'll learn what actual hunger is. That's a very important point in all this. Once you learn what actual hunger is and you develop an apathy towards food as a self-soothing behavior, you will be able to eat without worrying. It's actually very freeing. The reason you overeat anyway is because your body feels deprived. If every day you felt full and normal and your energy levels were good and you're eating the things you wanted to eat and didn't have to use some discipline every time you had a meal like you did for that last 3 months, your propensity to overeat that night is basically zero. So you'll say, how do I eat delicious food and feel satisfied and not overeat on my calories? How does that make me naturally skinny? If I ate to my heart's content, I would be in the same boat that I was in. I was eating to my heart's content this whole time. Well, I'm gonna tell you what your whole problem was this whole time. You are more likely than not, you've been crash dieting, you've been terrified of carbs, and then what happens? Every day, you're like trying to corral yourself into the right behaviors and it's painful and you have to force yourself, and you can't do that forever. And so what happens? When finally you're doing something nice, taking a cheat day or whatever, you way overdo it. But how are you gonna act instead now that you're already fit, but you don't wanna have to worry about it anymore? You're gonna eat whatever you want, just in the right quantity. I, for example, lost this 30, 40 pounds or whatever in the last 3-4 months, never hitting my protein goal, barely working out, having an insanely busy work schedule. I did it without having to force myself, and any of the muscle that I lost doing this, it doesn't really matter because I can just lock back in for another 3 to 6 months, gain some mass back, and then go back into this low power mode. Because truthfully, getting really in shape takes a lot of effort. And if you have any real goals in life, you don't have space for that in your life forever. Okay, last couple important notes. Number one, I'd say, I mean, this isn't like something I'd stand on, but I'd say like caffeinate as much as possible, except like, you know, to the point of messing up your sleep, don't do that. But like try to caffeinate as much as possible because it's a natural appetite suppressant, and so is nicotine, but I would never advocate for nicotine usage on this channel. But anyway, try to caffeinate as much as possible. And remember this, if you've already gotten into amazing shape and you're entering this naturally skinny phase like I have, just know you are gonna be hungry sometime. I actually don't even want to eat until I have gnawing pain of hunger. And then I'll just eat something to get rid of that gnawing pain, and then I'll keep it pushing. Because truthfully now, after having lived this lifestyle for a while and having it work for me, if I eat too much, the rest of my day is ruined. Look at this. I have to film this. I have to write this. I have too much shit to do to eat too much. And that's kind of the point. I'm going to read you a list of people who espouse the benefits of fasting and the feeling of hunger as a nootropic. Was that a lot of words? These people basically say the less you eat, the more hunger you feel, the better your brain will work. Okay, good. Does that make sense? Okay. Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, Thomas Aquinas, Nietzsche, Henry David Thoreau, Gandhi, and like fucking 50 million other people. This isn't just me saying this, okay? You're supposed to feel hungry. Hunger is like your life force. If you really think about it on an evolutionary scale, why would you be motivated to do anything if you already ate and you already nutted? A monkey has no reason to do everything after that. The day was won already. He can just sleep now. Unfortunately, you're a human and you have goals outside of that. So being hungry kind of puts you in a good mode where you're still motivated to chase your dreams and your brain literally works quicker. Hunger's fucking goated. Probably the best drug you can take between caffeine and hunger. I can't think of a better drug. Don't believe me? Okay, be unhappy. Enjoy the trenches. Make sure you don't burn my burger at McDonald's. But if you choose to have an open mind with me today and really try, you are gonna believe in magic again. And why this long video on fitness? Because the lessons we learn on our fitness journey are applicable to every other journey in life. That should be self-explanatory at this point. I am done with this. I have been going for fucking so long. This is like my longest shoot ever. So you guys know what to do. Catch me on live, comment corner, comment corner, comment corner, comment corner. Yo, we're gonna have a fucking comment corner sometime. No more schizo posting, please. Why don't I actually, instead of a comment corner, I know, okay, I'm asking you guys to be creative. Why don't I do another question of the day? Question of the day. What is your favorite fitness recipe or hack? Maybe we can spread the wealth a little bit. I'll put my favorite down there as well. But I have been Prince. You have been a lovely audience. I'm gonna get out of here. Life Max, motherfucker.